Hey guys, welcome to today's lesson. Today we're looking at profit and loss. This is an extension on the percentage increase and decrease lesson from last lesson. So I'm going to try and keep this pretty short. I'm going to aim for less than 10 minutes, see how I go. Okay, first of all, I'm going to define a couple of things. A profit, pretty straightforward. We know what profits are. Profits are when we make money. Okay, so it's the amount that's, made on the selling price of the product. No. Hey guys, welcome to today's lesson. Today we are focusing on profit and loss. Now this is an extension on our percentage increase and decrease from last lesson. So I'm going to try and keep this quite short, but I'm going to first of all define some of the terms and then look at maybe 3 or 4 questions that I think are important. First of all, what is a profit? A profit is the amount of money that's made on a sale. So, very basic. I buy something for $10. I sell it for $15, that means I've made a profit of $5. Whereas a loss would be the loss that you make on a sale. So I buy it for $10, but later on sell it for $5, I now have a loss of $5 or a change of -5. A markup is the amount that you add on to a purchase price. So I might buy it for $10. I want to make a profit of $5. So that profit there, that's my markup. And then my markup price would be the $15 that I'm selling it for. The percentage profit or percentage change is basically the profit or the loss, the change, the profit or the loss, and I put that over the original price. Really important, we remember that from last year, year 7, year 8, that we always put the profit or loss over the original amount unless otherwise stated for percentage profit. And of course, any fraction to a percentage, we times it by 100. And then a discount is when I go into a store and I don't pay full price. They might say it's 10% off, 20% off. It's a mark that's an amount that's deducted from the original amount that I'm paying. And we love to have discounts where we can. So basically we find the discount of the original price and we subtract it off the original. It's basically the decreasing of a percentage like we saw last lesson. Okay. I'm going to put there's 5 questions here, 4 questions for 5.2 and 3, and I've put an additional one there for 5.3. Of course, if you're 5.2, you want to extend yourself, most welcome to do it. If you want to pause this and have a crack at these questions, get these notes back into your book, and then you can have a crack at the questions, and then you can watch my video to make sure you got them right. Okay, so let's have a quick look at this. I'm going to go now into example 1. Okay, I bought a car for $50,000. I sold it a few years later for $40,000. Find the loss. Well, obviously it's a loss because I bought it for 50 grand. I've sold it for $40,000. So what's my loss? My loss is $10,000. So if we're looking for working out $50,000, subtract $40,000, which means I have a loss of $10,000. Okay, pretty straightforward. That then says to find the loss as a percentage of my purchase price, or i.e. find the percentage loss. Okay, well my loss of course is $10,000. I'm going to put it over the original amount, always the original amount unless otherwise stated. Put over 50,000 and times it by 100. Now of course on a calculator it's a pretty easy one to do. Without the calculator of course we can cut the 4 zeros off the top, the 4 zeros off the bottom. We have 1/5. You might know that to be 20%, or you could do 100 divided by 5, which is still 20%, and that is your answer. We have a 20% percentage loss going on here. So I've lost 20% of my price. Okay, question 2. How did you go with this one? I bought a guitar for $800 in a 10% off sale. Okay, so I've got a bit of a 10% discount. It wants me to find the original price. Now, this is very similar to a question I gave you last lesson, and that was that reversal, that kind of unitary method style of question. So I bought a guitar for $800 in a 10% off sale, which means originally, the guitar was 100%, and that's the original price that I'm looking for. But it had 10% subtracted off the price, which means I'm currently left with 90% of the price. So that $800 represents just 90% of the price. Now we want to go back and find the original amount, which is that 100%. So using that Newton method, I'm going to find what 1% is, and then I'm going to times it by 100 to find 100% of that price. So in order to find 1%, 90 divided by 90 makes 1. So it means we're going to divide the 800 by that 90. Okay, so I'm going to grab my calculator out because it's probably not going to be a very nice number here. I'm going to do 800. I'm going to divide that by 90. I'm going to always write that answer down. That's 8.8 recurring. I'm just going to put the ellipsis, those three dots there to say it goes on forever. And now I'm going to simply type in times it by 100, or you can do it just by looking at it. And we're going to get, in this case, $888. And I'm going to round it to two decimal places, money, very important. Two decimal places otherwise stated. And I get that answer there, $888.89. Be very careful. I know you're going to want to times by 10% and then simply plus it back on. We can't do that, okay? Because the 10% discount is off the original amount. We don't know what that is. So we can't use the 800 in that manner. We have to use the unitary method. I'm even going to write down here unitary. And I think most boys or all students struggle with that style of question, that reversal question. Question 3. Okay, Ted wants to make a profit of 25% on all sales. If he has a watch that has a cost price, so it costs him $200 to actually have the watch, how much will he need to sell it for? Well, he wants to make 25%, doesn't he? So 2 ways of doing this. We can figure out what 25% of $200 is. Okay, what's a quarter of 200? A quarter of 200 is $50. Now you can do it on the calculator if you're not sure. Okay, and therefore, if I want to make that as a profit, I want to mark it up by $50, which means my selling price is going to have to be $250. Now, likewise, what you could have done if you're using the sort of instant multiplier, you could have said 1.25 or 125% times it by 200, and that will automatically increase it by 25%, which again would have been $250, and that would have been your answer. Okay, 2 questions to go. Only one more for the 5.2, unless, of course, you want to extend yourself. A used car dealer buys a car for $50,000. Okay. Oh, no, sorry, $5,000. And then sells it later for $9,000. Okay, so he's making a profit, right? That's what he has to do to earn a business. Okay, find the markup percentage to 1 decimal price. The markup percentage. Well, first of all, let's find the markup. We buy it for $5,000, right? But we're adding something onto it to make a price of $9,000. Well, the markup is that additional amount that's been added on, which obviously in this case is going to be $4,000. Now, of course, you would simply subtract the 2 numbers to find that amount, but it's pretty straightforward in this question. So my markup is $4,000, or my profit is $4,000. So realistically, when it says the markup percentage, it wants the profit percentage, which simply means we do our profit, or our markup, over the original amount. Well, the car cost $5,000 originally, right? Okay, and I'm simply going to times it by 100. Okay, if I do that, I'm going to cross the zeros off. I have 4/5 times it by 100. Again, I can use a calculator for this, but 4/5 is 8/10, and 8/10, of course, is going to be 80%. Whoops, 80% there. And that makes about right. It makes a bit of sense, right? Because if I bought it for $5,000, I sold it for $9,000, well, I'm nearly marking it up by 100%, aren't I? Because 100% would be adding another $5,000, make it $10,000. So 80%, that actually sounds about right. So my markup percentage is 80%. Perfect. The last question, again, this is a 5.3 question, but if you're 5.2, you're trying to push yourself, by all means, have a crack at this question. A TV is marked up by 30%. In a sale, it's discounted by 20%. Find the percentage change of the original price. Now, I'm going to use the kind of the quicker method for this. That's the instant multiplier. I'm marking it up by 30%. Therefore, I'm doing 130% times it by my price. Now, notice here that I don't really have an amount, do I? Now, a couple of things here. You can make things easy and just put an amount in. And guess what's going to work? We could use algebra, okay? And I'm going to use that for this instance. But you could put an amount in like $1,000, $100. Try and use those kind of amounts because it makes it a little bit easier, okay? So I'm going to mark that up, that amount up to get my sale price, right? But then what's going to happen here is I'm then going to give a discount of 20%. Well, that means I'm going to be timesing it by 80%, right? So I'm now going to get this 130% of A, and I'm now going to times this by 20%. Okay, and that will be my discount price. Okay. So instead of calling that the sale price means that's what I'm selling it for, but I'm going to have the discounted price. So I'm timesing it by 130%, but then I'm timesing it by not 20%, sorry, 80%. Okay, because I've got my discount of 80%. So realistically, what we've got is I'm timesing it by 130% and then by a further 80%. Okay, and that's going to be my discounted price. So on the calculator, what I'm going to do, I'm going to type in my 1.3 is 130%. I'm going to times by 0.8, that's my 80%. You can use a percent button if you want, that's okay. And I'm going to get 104% as my price. So 104% of A, whatever A is going to be. So again, what I did there, I simply times it by 130% because I wanted to increase it by 30%. So 100% plus 30% is 130%. I then want to discount it by 20%. So I took 20% away, which means I've got 80% of my price. So technically speaking, I'm doing 130% times by my 80%, which means in total, I'm still making a profit of 4% of what I actually sold it for originally, what the original price was. So when it says to find the percentage change of the original price, it is 4% because it's 4% above the original 100%. A little bit hard, I understand that. Hopefully I didn't muddle you up on that one. But certainly you could chuck in a number like $100 and use it that way and kind of figure out you have $104 left, which is 4% change. So 5% change, I would say therefore a 4% change. And of course, it's gone up by 4%. Gents, that's pretty much it. I've gone 12 minutes, so apologies, 2 minutes over what I thought I would. I hope that made a little bit of sense. Go through, have a couple of crack at some of those questions in the book. And then as I said on Canvas, email me if you have any issues. Have a wonderful day, guys. I'll see you later on.